Every word they throw at you, every glance, every criticism, every doubt, it's not about you. Yet, how often do we carry it like a weight on our shoulders? Imagine living a life where nothing pierces your peace, where every insult, every disappointment, every rejection bounces off you like water off a shield. Today, I'm going to show you how to take nothing personally, because your power, your peace, and your success depends on it. Stay with me, and by the end, you'll never give someone else that power over your emotions again. And if you want more life-changing strategies to master your mind and your life, to hit that subscribe button. Now join this mission of unstoppable growth. The mission is simple: to free you from the chains of other people's opinions, to cultivate a mindset so strong that no criticism can shake your confidence, no insult can derail your focus, and no failure or rejection can make you doubt your purpose. This is about mastering yourself, walking with discipline, and living a life defined by your values, not the judgment of others. Faith in yourself and in your journey is the ultimate power, and today, you start claiming it. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because every week, we deliver tools, mindsets, and insights to help you build unshakable confidence, relentless focus, and unstoppable momentum in your life. You are not responsible for other people's opinions, yet so often we carry the weight of what others think, as if it were a measure of our worth, as if their approval or disapproval could define who we are at the core. But the truth is, their opinions are a reflection of their reality, their experiences, their fears, and their limitations, not yours. Every judgment they pass, every critical remark, every whisper behind your back, exists in their mind long before it reaches you, and it says far more about them than it ever could about you, and yet we allow it to seep into our hearts, to twist our thoughts, to make us question our abilities and our value. But the moment you realize that their perspective is theirs alone, you begin to reclaim the space that belongs only to you. You don't need to explain yourself, you don't need to defend your choices, you don't need to convince anyone of your worth, because the people whose opinions matter will see it without argument, and the people who don't will continue to judge, misinterpret, and misunderstand. And that's not your responsibility, that's theirs. Every time you take a comment personally, you give them power over your peace, over your focus, over the way you show up in the world. And the energy you waste trying to justify or correct or prove yourself could instead be spent building your dreams, mastering your craft, strengthening your mind, and nurturing the people and the life that truly matter. And the moment you let go of the idea that their judgment defines you, that's when you start walking freely, when your steps are lighter, your mind sharper, your confidence unshakable, and your actions guided not by fear of criticism, but by your own vision, by your own standards, and by the clarity that comes when you finally understand that their opinions are theirs alone, and nothing more. Criticism is a reflection of them, not you. Yet so often we carry the sting of harsh words, the weight of judgment, as if it were a mirror showing our flaws, when in reality it only reflects their fears, insecurities, and limitations. And the truth is that when someone criticizes you, it almost never has anything to do with your worth or your abilities. It has everything to do with their perspective, their expectations, their unmet needs, or their own struggles that they cannot reconcile. And every time you feel anger or hurt from another's words, you are letting their internal battles dictate your peace. And that is a choice you don't have to make, because you can step back, you can breathe, you can observe without internalizing. And when you do, you realize that their negativity is not an accurate measure of you. It's a shadow of them, a projection of their pain, a voice shaped by their limitations, and you are not obligated to accept it as truth. You are not required to defend yourself or prove your value, because your value is intrinsic. It exists independent of their approval. And the more you detach from their judgment, the freer you become, the lighter your spirit, and the sharper your focus, because you no longer waste energy on what others think or say. You no longer allow someone else's insecurities to hijack your emotions. And when you embrace this understanding, every critique, every harsh word, every doubt thrown your way becomes fuel rather than poison. It becomes insight rather than attack. It becomes a reminder that you are walking your own path, carrying your own purpose, and living your own truth. And no one's opinion, no one's criticism, no one's projection can diminish the strength you hold within or the light you carry inside. Detach emotionally, respond intelligently. Yet so often we react first and think later, letting anger, frustration, or hurt dictate the way we respond to situations and people. And in those moments, we give away our power, handing control of our emotions to someone else. Because when you respond purely from emotion, your actions are impulsive, uncalculated, and often regretful. But when you pause, when you breathe, when you step back and allow yourself to observe before reacting, you reclaim the power that always belonged to you. And detaching emotionally does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means recognizing that your peace is far more valuable than the temporary satisfaction of lashing out, that your focus and clarity are worth more than winning a meaningless argument or proving someone wrong. And when you respond intelligently, you act with intention, with purpose, with a calm that disarms conflict rather than escalating it. And intelligence in response comes from understanding the difference between the facts of a situation and the emotions you attach to it, from seeing the world as it is rather than as you fear it to be. And the more you practice this skill, the less you are controlled by external chaos, the more you stand firm in your center, unshaken by drama, criticism, or provocation, and every interaction becomes an opportunity to lead with composure, to act with wisdom, to rise above the petty attacks and distractions that would otherwise derail you. And when you respond from a place of intelligence rather than emotion, you are no longer reactive, you are strategic, you are powerful, you are untouchable. And this is how true strength is built, in the quiet moments of restraint, in the choices to pause instead of explode, in the discipline of mastering yourself before confronting the world. The ego wants you to take it personally, and it is relentless, constantly whispering that every word, every glance, every criticism is a direct attack on your value, your identity, your worth. And the moment you believe it, you hand over control of your emotions and your peace to someone else, allowing their opinions, judgments, or actions to dictate how you feel, how you think, and how you show up in the world. But the truth is, the ego thrives on this. It feeds on offense, on resentment, on the need to defend, on the desire to retaliate. And the more you give in, the more powerful it becomes, shaping your reactions, clouding your judgment, and keeping you trapped in a cycle of unnecessary suffering. And when you recognize that taking things personally only strengthens the ego, you begin to see that the most powerful choice is to refuse, to rise above, to refuse to let someone else's words or actions penetrate your sense of self. And when you make that choice consistently, you begin to feel an inner freedom, a weight lifted, a clarity of mind that allows you to act from strength rather than weakness, from purpose rather than reaction. And the ego will always try to trick you. It will always challenge your resolve. It will tempt you to respond, to lash out, to prove yourself, to justify. But each time you resist, each time you pause, each time you remind yourself that their opinion is theirs and not a reflection of your worth, you weaken its grip. You reclaim your power. You build resilience. And over time, taking nothing personally becomes a natural instinct, a shield, a force that protects your peace, your focus, and your ability to move forward in life unshaken, untouchable, unstoppable. And the more you practice this, the more you realize that the ego's desire for drama, for offense, for personal attack holds no real power over you unless you let it focus on your own journey, not their story. And yet so often we get lost in the narratives of other people, comparing our lives to theirs, measuring our progress against their successes, feeling inadequate because someone else seems further ahead, richer, smarter, or more recognized. But the moment you start living in someone else's story, you forget the value of your own path, the purpose that drives you, and the vision that only you are meant to fulfill. And every distraction from their life, every comparison, every envy, every second spent worrying about what others think or do is a second stolen from your own growth, from your own discipline, from the work that matters most. And your journey is unique, shaped by your experiences, your choices, your struggles, your victories, and the lessons you are learning along the way, and no one else can walk it for you. No one else can face your challenges, and no one else can experience the breakthroughs that are waiting for you if you stay focused. And the opinions, criticisms, and judgments of others are merely noise, echoes from lives that have nothing to do with your purpose. And when you start to recognize this, you begin to protect your energy. You stop reacting to distractions. You stop seeking validation where it cannot exist. And you start investing your attention, your discipline, and your faith into the actions that move you forward. And this focus is not just about productivity. It is about clarity. It is about understanding that your worth is not measured by someone else's standards, and your success is not defined by the outcomes that others achieve, but by the consistency, the courage, and the commitment you bring to your own path. And every time you resist the pull of comparison, every time you remind yourself that your journey is yours alone, every time you take action aligned with your goals rather than someone else's expectations, you strengthen your resilience, you deepen your self-respect, and you reclaim the power that is rightfully yours. And over time, this focus becomes a habit, a mindset, a shield that protects you from distraction, envy, and unnecessary conflict. And the more you invest in your own story, the more unstoppable you become, the more your confidence grows, and the more your life unfolds according to the purpose and vision that only you were meant to pursue. Freedom is in choosing your reactions, and yet so often we believe that life happens to us, that other people's words, actions, and decisions have the power to control our emotions, dictate our behavior, and determine the quality of our days. But the truth is that no one can touch your peace unless you allow it. No one can provoke anger, fear, or sadness unless you give them permission. And the moment you understand that your reaction is always within your control, everything changes. And choosing your reaction is not about suppressing emotion. It is not about pretending you feel nothing. It is about stepping into a space of awareness where you see the situation clearly, separate from the rush of feelings that want to hijack your mind. And in that space, you can respond with wisdom, with strategy, with intention, instead of reacting from chaos. And this choice is the ultimate form of power, because it liberates you from the invisible chains of other people's behavior, from the cycle of offense and retaliation, from the emotional turbulence that keeps you off balance. And every time you pause, every time you take a breath before responding, every time you remind yourself that the insult, the criticism, the betrayal, or the misunderstanding does not define you, you reclaim a piece of your freedom, and this freedom allows you to move through life with clarity, with focus, and with energy directed toward what actually matters, toward your goals, your purpose, your growth, and toward building a life that is anchored in strength rather than being shaken by circumstance. And the more you practice choosing your reactions, the more it becomes instinctive, a natural shield against negativity, a protective barrier that keeps your mind and spirit intact. And when you consistently exercise this power, you begin to notice the difference in everything. Relationships improve, stress diminishes, decisions become sharper, and your confidence in yourself grows, because you know that no external force can derail you unless you permit it. And with this awareness, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every confrontation, a chance to demonstrate strength, every moment, a chance to live intentionally. And as you master the art of choosing your reactions, you realize that true freedom was never about escaping problems, avoiding criticism, or controlling others. It was about controlling yourself, about taking responsibility for your own emotional state, and stepping into a life where no one, no situation, and no circumstance has the power to shake the peace, clarity, and power that reside within you. Pain is optional. Misinterpretation is the enemy. And yet so often we walk through life believing that the words, actions, or intentions of others have the power to hurt us, that every slight, every insult, every misunderstanding is a direct assault on our being. But the reality is that pain is not something that is imposed upon us externally. It is something we choose internally. It is a creation of our mind, a response shaped by how we interpret the world. And every time we assume offense, every time we take a comment personally, every time we let someone else's behavior dictate how we feel, we are giving away the most precious control we have, the control over our own emotional state. And misinterpretation is the tool that our mind uses to trap us. Because the moment we twist what someone says or do into a narrative of attack or disrespect, we create suffering that may not even exist. And often the words spoken to us are reflections of other people's insecurities, their confusion, their projections, their frustrations, or even their lack of awareness. And yet we interpret them as truth about ourselves, believing that their perspective is an accurate measure of our value, our ability, or our character. And the moment we recognize this, the power shifts back to us. Because if we can see clearly that their words and actions are theirs alone, then we are free to choose how to respond. We are free to choose calm over anger, understanding over judgment, patience over resentment. And in that freedom, pain begins to lose its grip, because it is no longer something inflicted from outside. It is no longer something imposed upon us. It is something optional, something we can release with awareness. And every time we pause before reacting, every time we examine the situation, instead of reacting impulsively, every time we remind ourselves that their words are not a reflection of our worth, we weaken the power of misinterpretation, we dismantle the illusions of offense, and we reclaim our peace, our focus, and our clarity. And the more we practice this, the more natural it becomes to live untouchable, to walk through life without unnecessary emotional baggage, to interact with others without giving away power, and to build resilience, because each choice to refuse pain and to see clearly creates a stronger mind, a calmer heart, and a sharper sense of reality. And in this space, criticism, betrayal, and misunderstanding can pass like wind across a lake, leaving no ripple on the surface of our inner peace. And as we fully embody this understanding, we realize that life only hurts us when we agree to the false stories we tell ourselves about other people, when we misinterpret intentions, and when we take personally what was never meant to define us. And the mastery of this mindset is the mastery of freedom, the freedom to live fully, powerfully, and unshakably, no matter what the world throws our way. Living untouchable is the ultimate success mindset, and yet so few people truly understand what it means to walk through life in this way, to cultivate a presence that cannot be shaken, a mind that cannot be unsettled, and a heart that cannot be hijacked by the opinions, judgments, or negativity of others, because most of us are trained to react, to take offense, to seek approval, to let the world's commentary dictate our emotions. And the moment we step into the practice of taking nothing personally, everything begins to shift, because suddenly we are no longer at the mercy of external chaos. Suddenly our energy is ours to command, our focus is ours to direct, and our peace is ours to protect. And living untouchable does not mean becoming isolated, cold, or indifferent. It means becoming aware, deliberate, and disciplined in how we allow the world to touch us. It means understanding that every word, every action, every judgment coming from someone else is a reflection of them, not a measurement of our worth, not a verdict on our abilities, not a barrier to our purpose. And when we truly internalize this, we start to move with a calm certainty that is magnetic, that draws the right people and opportunities to us while repelling distractions, drama, and negativity. And this mindset transforms not just our personal lives, but our professional lives, our relationships, and the way we engage with the world, because a person who cannot be swayed by offense, insult, or criticism makes decisions from clarity, acts from purpose, and speaks from authority. And the energy we save by not internalizing the chaos of others is energy we can invest in growth, in mastery, in creativity, in the pursuit of goals that align with our true vision. And living untouchable requires practice, patience, and self-awareness. It requires recognizing the triggers that make us reactive, the moments when our ego wants validation or revenge, the times when our mind interprets actions as personal attacks, and it requires consistently choosing to step back, to breathe, to observe, and to respond with intention rather than reaction. And the more we practice this, the more resilient we become, the more we are able to maintain focus under pressure, the more we are able to build confidence and discipline that cannot be undermined by the judgment of others. And over time, this mindset becomes second nature, a shield that protects our peace, a framework that guides our choices, and a lens through which we view the world with clarity, understanding, and power. And living untouchable allows us to see opportunity where others see conflict, to remain calm when others panic, and to act decisively when others hesitate. And this is the ultimate form of success, because success is not measured solely by wealth, status, or recognition. It is measured by the ability to maintain control over your mind, your emotions, and your life. To move through challenges without being derailed, to rise above criticism and negativity with grace and strength, and to remain steadfast in your purpose, regardless of the noise around you. And when we embrace this mindset fully, we realize that true power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves, not in reacting to the world, but in commanding our response, not in taking personally, but in walking untouchable. And this is how we live unshakable, how we live unstoppable, how we live free, how we live fully, how we claim the life, the focus, the clarity, and the peace that are our birthright. Because when you take nothing personally, when you master your reactions, when you detach from the chaos of others, when you live untouchable, there is nothing in the world that can stop you, nothing that can derail you, and nothing that can touch the power, the purpose, and the peace that reside within you. So today, remember this. Nothing anyone says or does can define your worth, derail your purpose, or steal your peace unless you allow it. And the moment you take nothing personally, you step into a life of freedom, clarity, and unstoppable power. A life where criticism fuels growth instead of pain, where challenges become opportunities instead of obstacles, and where every choice, every action, every thought is anchored in your vision, your values, and your purpose. And as you walk this path, carry this truth with you. Let it guide you, let it shield you, and let it ignite the fire within. Because the greatest power you will ever hold is the ability to remain untouchable, unshaken, and fully alive, no matter what the world throws at you.